Today we're driving the 2023 Genesis GV70 Electric. I've spent all week in this car. We're going to walk you around it, show you what it looks like inside and out, and then we'll take it for a drive and give you guys some thoughts on what it's been like to live with. So, this is the Prestige, which means it costs $75,000. The advanced model, the base model, so to speak, costs about $66,000. And this is a pretty nice place to be. The GV70 on its own is a really nice vehicle. It's got a great interior, it drives well, and honestly, dynamically, this EV version just improves upon that. We have 429 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. This will do 236 miles on a full charge. And even though that's not a ton of outright range, it has the 800-volt charging architecture, so it can charge from 10 to 80% in about 18 minutes if you can find a fast enough DC fast charger. Painted in this matte gray, I think it looks pretty good too. A little bit larger, a little bit of a different purpose, more luxury and comfort oriented than the sportier GV60 that we drove about a month ago. Here's your charge port, hidden right up front. One annoying thing is you do have to remove this cover to charge, but I guess that's probably there for moisture control, being at the front of the vehicle. 20-inch wheels, 265 45 R20 Michelin tires. Very quiet on the highway. Rides nicely. We have adaptive suspension. Let's take a look at the trunk space back here. Pop the tailgate with a little button under the rear wiper. Lots of customizability and settings in this GV70. You can even customize how fast the tailgate rises up. Nice little cargo cover. Fold down the rear seats with these levers in the back, and you get a ton of space in the back of this thing. Power tailgate is pretty quick in its operation too. One complaint that I do have with some Kia, Hyundai, Genesis products is that when the rear seats fold down, they lock into place, so you have to unlock them with this down here. But it does have an adjustable backrest. The leathers, the materials back here are really, really nice inside this GV70. Rear shades, rear climate control. We've got heated seats. I'm 5'10". This is my driving position, and I have plenty of room to stretch out in the back of this GV70. Nice looking panoramic sunroof too. This also gets the Lexicon audio system. We'll test that out later on in this video. Here's your key fob. You've got options to lock, unlock, pop the tailgate, park in and park out, and remote start. Yeah, very nice looking interior. Alcantara headliner. This feels like a $70,000, $80,000 car in here. Not sure how the white will wear over time, but if you keep it clean, it looks really nice. So this GV70 has the same 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack that's shared with the EV6, the GV60, the Ioniq 5, the Ioniq 6. So there's a lot of shared running gear here. The difference with this GV70 is slightly different size and a little bit more luxurious on the inside. You just get a tiny little frunk up front. Not much to see. Room to put a few things, tire mobility kit, and that's about it. Probably something that not many people are going to be using on a regular basis. One thing I will say about this GV70 is, unlike the G80 electric that we drove last year, this seating position feels really nicely well suited to the car. I don't feel like I'm too high up like I did in the G80 to make room for that battery pack. This being an SUV, more ground clearance, more room for that 77.4 kilowatt hour battery makes this a much more comfortable car to sit in, and I feel like I have plenty of headroom here at 5'10". So, get into this interior. We're greeted with a lot of familiar screens, switchgear, knobs, buttons, dials. Genesis has done a really nice job with the design of this interior. I think they've just kind of hit this sweet spot in terms of usability, functionality. We've got some purple ambient lighting here that we can change and adjust different colors if we want. Wireless charging down here, though only wired CarPlay and Android Auto. We've got our scroll wheel for our infotainment down here, which I still get confused with the gear selector for some reason, but overall everything's pretty well organized down here. You've got your drive mode selector. You can choose between Eco, Comfort, Sport, and a personalized drive setting. And if you hit this boost button right here, you get 483 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque instead of 429, which is nice. Paddle shifters behind the wheel where you can change your level of regenerative braking or engage iPedal, which is one pedal driving. Physical controls on the steering wheel. There's the horn. And then I like that you get physical dials for the climate, and there is a little bit of haptic feedback, a little bit of vibration when you press the screen in. And I like that you get constant climate controls. That's not all hidden in the infotainment. Vents are nicely placed. You can easily turn them on and off by sliding to the right or left. A little bit of room down there in the center console. You can also see that the gauge cluster will change depending on different drive modes. We'll play around with that a little bit on this drive. I think it's time to take this out and see how it does on the road. Reverse camera, nice and high res. No complaints there. To the right of the screen, you've got options to see clock, weather, charge rate, nearby charge stations, which is useful, though that doesn't really factor into your navigation, so there's no system here to kind of figure out charge stations, stops. You have to do that with an app and figure out your waypoints accordingly on your own. Genesis hasn't gotten up to Tesla's level in terms of that system, but we'll get there someday, I'm sure, with some software updates, hopefully. So I've mostly been driving this GV70 with iPedal engaged. Pull the left paddle once, you'll automatically start up at level 3 of regen. Pull the paddle once on the left, and that'll put you into iPedal mode, which is one pedal driving. And it's a pretty nice one pedal system. Plenty of regen right off the bat. It does come to a stop a little bit slower than I would like sometimes, but once you get used to it, you can kind of factor that into your driving style and account for it on the road. It is very smooth. The throttle blending here is excellent. And with 429 horsepower, this is plenty fast. While we've got a straight section of road here, let's do a quick launch. Sport mode gauges look pretty wild. Brake pedal feels decent, easy to modulate. Ready, set. All right, that's without boost mode. Let's see what that's like with boost mode. Ready, engaging. Ooh, a little bit of front wheel spin. Cool, big difference there. That's fun. Only problem I have with boost mode is I did accidentally press it once while making a turn, and it kind of accelerated a little bit more than I would want because it changes the throttle response. So you just have to kind of be careful with that. Be aware that it's there and not accidentally hit your boost mode button. Sport mode has a nice level of responsiveness. I like that. This car, as a luxury vehicle, is just so impressive. The interior quality is fantastic. There's no shakes, no rattles. It's super quiet on the highway. Barely any road, tire, or wind noise. The driving assistance tech works well. You've got highway driving assist, lane keep assist, lane centering, adaptive cruise control. It'll even change lanes for you, even though it does take its sweet time. Tons of customizability here. I mean, this is a really nice offering in the EV luxury car space. Let's try eco mode for a little bit. Eco mode limits your outright power. And you can see the range estimate change there too. This is just such a smooth, comfortable, easy to live with, good looking, just a really nice overall package. All right, let's put us into sport mode, test out the handling here. Boost mode, why not? Yeah, for an SUV in this class, this is quite impressive. Maybe not Porsche Macan levels of sharpness, but it's pretty darn close. One feature that I really like are these blind spot turn signal cameras. Just takes a little bit of stress out of the driving experience when you're in traffic, around town. Stuff like that adds up over time. And something I really appreciate in a lot of Hyundai, Genesis, Kia products. Check out this NVH on the highway. Super quiet. Pretty amazing stuff. Lane centering lasts for quite a while. This car has asked me to put my hands on the steering wheel a few times when I've already had my hand on the wheel, so you do need to kind of give it some torque input every now and then just to wake it up. But incredibly quiet out here, 70 miles an hour. While we're just cruising, let's test out this Lexicon audio system. You can also use this as a touchscreen, which is nice. Volume controls are down here in the center or on your steering wheel. Notice there the lane change was a little bit slow and it didn't accelerate that fast around the car in front of us, so this guy got a little bit frustrated. The driving assistance systems are just a little bit sluggish. They take their time, so that's something to factor in when you're in traffic moving around cars, is you may want to take over everything and just drive yourself. Lexicon audio sounds nice. Nothing best in class, but it seems to do a pretty good job in the range of vehicles for this price point. I'd say it's up there with kind of BMW's Harman Kardon systems. Let's engage sport mode, and we'll take one more exit ramp. Seatbelt's tightening up around a corner. Boost, and we're off. A little bit of safe understeer. The power here is excellent. And again, boost mode only lasts for 10 seconds. And for those 10 seconds or less, you're free. Ooh, regen's a bit more aggressive in sport mode too. That's nice, or at least it comes on a bit quicker. Alright guys, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the Genesis GV70. Oh, one more thing I would like to add. I actually prefer this a little bit to the GV60. Granted, you get a little bit more space, it's a little bit larger of a package, but there's one thing I really didn't like about the way the GV60 drove, and there was quite a bit of throttle delay off the line when you were setting off, especially around town, from stoplights, stop signs, and just regular traffic. There was about a second of delay from putting your foot on the throttle to actually accelerating out. And I've noticed that this GV70 doesn't have that problem. So it's a little bit more of a fluid and enjoyable car to drive on a regular basis. If you're trying to catch narrow gaps in traffic or kind of make it out of an intersection quickly, this is a better car to do that with, just because the throttle tuning is a little bit better. So That is one reason why I definitely prefer this GV70 over the GV60. The GV60 has some really cool design elements in it, but this is just a regular GV70 with an electric powertrain, and I've got to say the integration and everything is really, really well done. And Genesis has done a really nice job adapting this to the electric powertrain. One of the only cons that I could see is the overall range at only 236 miles isn't a ton, but the DC fast charging capability here is so strong that you could feasibly road trip this no problem as long as the charge network works. And I think that's kind of makes up for the lack of overall long range in this GV70. If you can swing the extra money, this Prestige package is probably the way to go. This interior, all the features you get, everything is so nice. The 3D gauge cluster is very cool in person, even though that's something we can't really see in today's video because we're just looking through a single lens. But you also get a head-up display. You can enable that and disable that very quickly right here in the infotainment. One little bug I did run into this week was, for some reason, the car, I started it up earlier and it just completely reset all of my driver settings. It asked me to create a new profile. I kind of had to reset everything up all over again, which is a bit strange, so it might be a little bit of a bug in the software there. But otherwise, this thing's been flawless. CarPlay connectivity has been fantastic. It's a bit tedious to plug it in every time, but sometimes I kind of prefer the physical connection with CarPlay. Sometimes I don't always need it. And if it's always connecting automatically, if you're sharing this vehicle with multiple drivers, that can be a little bit annoying. All right, I think that's going to be it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. The bright white brake calipers are a cool touch too. Bold of Genesis to do that.